Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. As our 12-year-old daughter, when she went through the seminar 25 years ago, she's 37 now, she says, "This is easy peasy." Direct quote. From the lips of, whatever that saying is. Easy peasy, Daddy. We've had 13, 14, 15-year-olds. Easy peasy, because they're not thinking about it. One, they don't have enough information in their brain to get confused. Number two, they don't have baggage like everybody in this room, myself included. That's why young kids can learn languages so much easier, multiple languages, as I did when I was little. She thought. I already said about her, not just her, that she's trying to she's trying to make the QLA potential acquisitions fit the real estate model. Even though she doesn't appreciate she is. For those of you that heard her, she's trying to fit the real estate model. And if you do that, you're going to fail. Or you're going to get shit that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And I already said the only time the a real estate portion can be added or bolted on is when you're getting rid of it simultaneously. You already got rid of it. You've seen the Czech Republic back here. Can't believe he's 30 years old now. He's already wasted his life. We've got just a few more days. And in those few more days, it's not, they're not the most mandatory hours, but you need to understand that this model is dead fucking simple. I've been doing this for 30 years. One moving part. There must be, this is an exaggeration, 100,000 minutes of me on YouTube doing this. And what you've done with that one moving part is you stuck it up your ass and then you stuck it in your mouth. For the most part. There's always a but or a what. I got more emails last night and early this morning from the kids, the yous out there. And it reminded me of something. Some of you attended this seminar when I made this analogy a few seminars ago. There was a kid that came that after 7 years, and he said Roberta was a dipshit. Remember I said that? Well, something else happened at that seminar. He and two other guys gave me this 7 years ago, or 8 years ago now. And he said, if we don't come back successful, we want you, because a 50 caliber can go through 3 skulls, easy. We want you to blow our fucking brains. And it stood in front of my desk. And he was sitting right back there with 13 sitting. We want you to collectively blow our fucking brains out. And erase our DNA. There was a guy from Switzerland, an American who moved to Switzerland because the Swiss are easy. There was a Lebanese kid from Canada, and there was a not black beauty, but a male black beauty that looked like Obama, and he happened to come back to another seminar, and first he denied it. What's the first thing you do when you get caught? Deny. And then he undenied it, or he revamped his answer. And I reminded him the Lebanese kid went to Iran on my instruction. He spoke Farsi, and he was thrown in jail. because I told whoever was, the guy that never took a shower, the guy that used to wear a suit before the couple of these guys, decided that QLA was communistic. Anyway, got thrown in jail. And he was about 6'6", 6'7", weighed about 270 or 80 pounds, and he had 5% body fat. But he didn't have a six-pack. And he went to jail, and he said he had to get used to screaming of the other cellmates that were getting fucked in the ass. And after, he says, 4 or 5 weeks, he finally got to be able to sleep through the screams. But they left him alone because he was 6'7". He was a big fucker. And some of the little skinny shits, like some of you in this room, befriended him. I wonder why. Then there was a black kid, Obama, who did the first weed public offering in Canada. Made about $500 million. And I've asked him to assist me in a couple of Canadian deals. And he's away. He's up there. He's away. I mean, there's no stopping him. And he's looked at a couple of deals for me. And then there was the guy that was sitting there who was, he was rolling up tax, not agencies, but consultancies. Put a bullet in my head. It's embarrassing, it's so fucking easy. Just like some, talks cheap. I've heard it all. But one of the emails reminded me. Now, I keep it up here, but sometimes I forget it's up here. There's not a story of woe or mayhem I have not heard in 30 years, including murder. Because one of the slides from yesterday was denial. Denial is easier than confrontation. Now, I happen to thrive on it, the confrontation part, and it's hard for me to even say words that connote denial. But in today's woke, and you can't use woke as an excuse why you're not more successful. All you can say is that you've succumbed to woke. And I can just say again, when you go out there, first of all, past yourself, your biggest hurdle is going to be associations you have, regret. And I know some of you have distanced yourself from your family. But we've had guys up there that didn't have to distance themselves from their family. That played Christmas with toys and shit under the tree. But, they played daddy or mommy 2 times a year. On Mother's Day for the gals and on Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever the appropriate occasion was. But most people aren't strong enough will. We were talking about sheer willpower when we were discussing Trey yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Most of us, and I found it easier just to move here. And I'm pretty strong-willed. So if I moved 6,000 miles away, because I knew that I would eventually get worn down by the weddings and the funerals and the this and the that, and poor people like to go on fucking picnics. They go to these big parks. It's 97 degrees, 95% humidity, and you go to a fucking park when you're poor. And all the fat, lard-ass women are there, barbecuing and shit. Why? Because they got no money to do anything else. And the rich guys go to the yacht clubs or the golf clubs or the tennis clubs. And so you should be sitting in front of a fan. Default's a bitch, guys. Default's a bitch. And the Chinese default, that she's dealing with or has dealt with already in Australia is a bitch. But all default's a bitch. And I've said many, many, many times, there's only been 3 relatives that have ever been here at the castle. My stepbrother, kid brother, my dad, and my mom died here. No invitations. I've had people stay in Dundee that didn't come here. You'd be over there having brunch with them. I've had people stop at the gate and do the buzzer. And is Mr. Peña on? Who's this? Andy Peña? No, he's out of town. You'd run to the gate and give him dip and some champagne or some shit. How many of you have still got personal cases you haven't shown? Okay, we're going to finish those off today. Last night you saw the third, the third episode of The Guys That Built America. And who was it that you saw last night? J.P. Morgan? Okay. He had a nose like this, J.P., about this big. And he had whatever that, I don't know what the disease it's called, but when they turn red, Bob Dyke, God rest his soul, the father of the North Sea, could drink scotch through the pores, the open pores in his nose. His nose was so big he couldn't get a glass. J.P. Morgan's nose was even bigger. Some say that J.P. had such a shitty disposition, and he didn't like to take pictures, and he thought one of his sides was better than the other. But he was a miserable human being. But he's one of the only companies that still has his name on it. Takeaways about JP and Edison. Yes, sir.
JP's father did a very good job of fucking him up as a child and raising him to be a high performer in the sense of making sure he did the books and understood the value of money from a very young age.
Now, I did the same thing, but I overdid. You can't overdo it. If you want to know how to overdo beating your kids, I'm guilty. To this day, our children don't like to get dressed up with tuxedos or my daughter formal dress or any of that shit. Because we made them since they're 3 years old, even earlier. And when we go to Mass, we come back from Mass and we go to a place for lunch or brunch, white-tailed gloves, tuxedo being served, that kind of thing. And our special needs kid, he would jump under the table. And he said that he didn't want anybody seeing him in a suit. And at 4, 5, or 6, not many people go to lunch in a suit. And then we used to dress for dinner every night. Dress for dinner every fucking night. And the big table. And they hate it. I made them take golf lessons. I made them. We used to have tennis courts. I ripped them out because in the snow, in the rain, I had professionals come in from Edinburgh and Aberdeen. And 6 hours a day hitting fucking tennis balls when you're 6, 7, 8 years old. I beat them. They hate tennis. I hired some of the top karate guys, not my mentee here on the left, but world-class guys to come in and teach them. They hated it. The only thing that they liked is golf because they could get in the golf cart and get away from me on the golf course. So I could write a book on, how you take them over the line. I very, very seldom did I hit them physically because my dad used to hit me. But I invented the word bullying. And I told them, and I'm not suggesting you do this, by the way. I told them, I said, someday when you're 35 or 40, you'll respect me, but you're never going to love me. All your parents do is they wanted to be your buddy, for the most part. And that's where parenthood falls down and breaks down. And to this day, our daughter's 37, our oldest son's 40. Actually, He's 42 on the 1st of January. Another son, youngest son, the MBA, is just turned 40. And I'm not so sure they're at the respect part yet. But our daughter, I think, respects, because just like Czech Republic, everything I've told them has come true. I'm going to get to this because for the guys and gals that have deals that are dog shit, try them. Be my guest. Do it at your own peril. And then you go to Reddit and say fucking QLA doesn't work. If you put an asterisk and say, really, I didn't work QLA, that's why it didn't work. Do the deal. You too. I'm the chair. I know what the outcome, I don't even have to, I can tell you the fucking outcome today. Just as I told you. But you didn't listen. I could have 1,000 kids just like Czech Republic. But you're going to go up and step on your dick anyway. Because when I say QLA isn't for everybody, what I'm saying is QLA isn't for you because you're not willing to make the sacrifices. And down deep inside, in that thread of DNA, when you're hiding in the UAE or wherever you're hiding, you know you were never meant to be rich. Remember the questions I asked? What did your grandparents do? Nothing. What did your parents do? Fucking nothing. What did your siblings do? Fucking nothing. Well, nothing, nothing, and nothing. Even in the new math, it's still fucking nothing. And you know it. For the Asian people in this room, you were put on this earth to be the pension fund of your fucking lazy fucking cunt parents. And that streams back to caveman days when the teeth fell out of the parents at 30 or whenever they fell out. Then you chewed the food for your parents and you put the food in their mouth. That's where it all started. And you're still, I don't know, an Asian kid. No, that's not true. I know hardly any Asian kids, man or woman, that don't feel obligated to support their parents. We have Asian kids. I've got a very successful Indian guy in Connecticut, has a big electronics company. He still owes his parents. He must be 49, 50. And if you watch the Princeton talk, his 14-year-old kid got up and said, I'm so-and-so, and I've tried to leave home 3 or 4 times because my biggest problem are my parents. And then he looked over. Of course, I recognized his mother and father because they were here. And even though they know they got fucked up that way and they still live with our grandparents, they won't let me go. Trying to leave home at 12, that may be a stretch, even if he was really mature. Pension plans. The white folk are a little different. But I don't use the charts now, but when you were going through the regular seminar, I showed 34% of the people under 30 still live at home. That's so far beyond my comprehension. I mean, I can't imagine that. And then 18% of the people live with their parents and they're married. And I said, what do you take turns fucking? What if your mom's a screamer? Or you fuck your old lady, wife, or partner, whatever you call it, when your parents are out to dinner? I mean, I don't get it. How's that possible? Because you've got no self-esteem. Where I come from, if you were still living at home at 17, it's because you were a cripple. Something was wrong with you. What else about J.P. Morgan or Edison? Yep.
Wealth buys you immense influence. Like he bailed out the U.S. Government. I mean, you own the country.
Mm-hmm. Not dissimilar to the Rothschilds during the early 1800s, when they were keeping track of the Battle of Waterloo and with pigeons. The Rothschilds wanted to know whether they should keep on supporting the stock market. And they had better communications with the front lines of Wellington fighting Napoleon than the fucking army did. And of course, the Rothschilds are Jewish, and they haven't tried to hide it ever, that I'm aware of anyway. And of course, now we have rallies in the cities, both Palestinian and Jewish rallies. What else about JP? Yes?
One of the rules that Morgan's father lived by was that the best time to buy is when there's blood on the streets.
Exactly. Well, I mean, in Warren and, Buffett and several other guys, a more recent time, when there's panic in the streets, when that tsunami wave looks really close, I mean, that's the time to buy. Now, I'm not the only one that's in total cash. There's a few others, but some of the big companies like Microsoft, et cetera, they're sitting on, and Berkshire Hathaway, hundreds of billions of dollars in cash. And why is that? Because when the big motherfucker comes, cash has always been king. Cash is going to be, super king. It'll be like having super dollars, super shares. And what else? Anything else about Edison or JP? Yes, sir.
Edison got thrown out by J.P. Morgan because he, didn't have a dream team and got thrown out on his ass, and Edison Electric became General Electric.
And these guys step on each other all the time. And currently, they still do. They're not, there's a difference between knowing people and being able to tap them for something in business and being a asshole buddy. None of these guys have asshole buddies. Elon Musk's best friend is his brother. Okay? And he treats his wives or significant others like dog shit. But he also says, I would rather cut my hand off with a fork, not a knife, than talk about my personal life, because it's so fucked up. Now, a book that just came out, or is about to come out, the guy traveled with Elon for 2 years and got the inner workings of Elon, because Elon's working on building his legacy now, like all the guys are. And he talks about some of the things and how his decisions are made. High performance people make decisions quickly, and change their minds slowly. Because they know, by definition, that conventional wisdom is almost always wrong. Always wrong. Okay, YouTube.